Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. If you're joining me, you are here for two book reviews today. One of them is Asylum by Marcus Lowe, which is this one. And I'm going to be talking about All Systems Red by Martha Wells, which is a story from the Murderbot diary. So a novella and a small book. I don't know. Just not feeling my confidence today. But anyway, we will persevere because I have notes. I wrote down my notes. So I picked up the Asylum recently. I'd never heard of it, which doesn't mean anything. I've said that before on my channel. There are so many books out there. There is a chance that I'm not going to know all of the books out there. It's just how it is. But I read the back and I thought it sounded really interesting. So this book follows a man called Barry, which is awesome because my brother's called Barry. And he is in a quarantine hospital as there's like a plague going on in the world. So he's been put there because he's infected. It's not a spoiler. It's on the back. And in the book, or rather it says about, there's an opportunity to escape. And that's kind of where it ends. So it tells you a bit about who he is. And then it's like, and then there's an opportunity to escape. So the first thing I want to say about this book is I really liked Marcus Lowe's writing style. When people talk about like authors' voices, sometimes I hear them, sometimes I don't, but I'm still like along for the ride. I could hear Marcus Lowe's voice, and I really enjoyed his narrative, his choice of words. So if he brings out another book, I would definitely consider it, although I didn't overly enjoy Asylum. However, I even wrote this down in my notes. I don't know if I didn't enjoy Asylum because it was too smart for me and it went over my head, or it was just lackluster. So I've been thinking about it because I want to be as honest a reviewer as I possibly can, and I don't know if it's just too smart or not. So I'll go into some thought behind this without trying to spoil the book. It's not really a plot-driven book, so there wouldn't be an awful lot for me to spoil, but if you do plan to read this, I'm really sorry if I give anything away. So we follow, like I say, Barry. Barry is in this medical hospital. I don't think I skimmed any of the book. I do think I read every single word, but I didn't see the word asylum anywhere. But that's fine. Doesn't have to correlate, but I get it. So there's actually a blurb on the front from the Sunday Times saying that it is the most credible dystopian novel they've ever read. So it's interesting. So Barry is in this medical facility and the world around him is changing. He makes that abundantly clear. He tells this in a diary form. Not only are people sick, they're struggling to breathe, they're coughing, that sort of thing. It is very, very powerful considering what's happening right now. Definitely reminded me of the SARS virus, and that may have been what he based his knowledge on. So he kind of is here, and he just doesn't care. He's kind of sits by the window every day, and how Marcus describes Barry looking out of the window and what he sees, which is very little, I really enjoyed. I thought it was really beautiful. The format of the book is, like I said, told in diary form, but it's interesting because you have an introduction by a kind of governing body, and they're going to place it in a museum for its historical content. But the problem is with that, as much as I didn't mind the notes, I just didn't find anything in the story that would warrant it to be placed in a museum for its historical accuracy. Anyway, because we don't really learn about the plague or the world at large. We see everything through Barry's eyes. And Barry, like I said, has kind of just given up on life. And I didn't care about Barry, and I didn't care about any of the other characters. And last night when I was lying in bed thinking about this, before I reviewed it, I thought to myself, I don't care. There was, that's how it, sometimes with a character, you root for a character or something. There was just no one in here that I found likeable. And that's when I kind of thought, well, maybe that's the point. Because the idea is the reason they're in this medical hospital is because society has put them there, because it doesn't want to deal with what they've got. So they've been forgotten. they're forgetful people. You know, their families don't visit. I don't think they'd be allowed to because of the quarantine, but their families don't visit. They're just people in a hospital that have been forgotten. And I'm wondering if that was the point. I don't care about the characters because nobody else does. I don't know. Am I reading too much into it? Is it that smart book I was telling you about that's gone over my head? I don't know. But last night I kind of came to that realization when I was drawing up my review of the Murderbot Diaries. So that was something I thought about. But ultimately, like I said, I was intrigued enough to keep reading. I don't want to say I didn't enjoy it because I did, but I didn't. I'm never going to make it as a reviewer for The Independent, am I? Cassandra says of The Independent. I kind of liked it and I kind of didn't. But so I'm just not sure if the story was for me, but Marcus is definitely for me. One of the things that I found really frustrating about the book was the use of the guy's name. So he's writing in diary form. When he had time to write all this stuff, I don't know. But he's pulling it from memory, I believe, when he's near the end of the book. But he's in a room alone with another person, and they're having a dialogue. And at the end of nearly every sentence, the other person says, Barry. How do you feel about that, Barry? Talk to me, Barry. What's going on in your head, Barry? There's only two of them in the room. I don't need to know that he's addressing Barry. I know he is. That was probably my biggest gripe. But I hope that doesn't come off harsh. That was just my biggest gripe. Like I said, Marcus's writing is beautiful. I'm not sure the story's for me, but if you like character pieces, even if you don't care about the characters, because this is definitely personally, I found it. Obviously, I'm not a scholar or anything by any means, but it was definitely about Barry's internal landscape rather than the landscape outside, although they do mirror each other, which I thought was really cool. But so it was definitely worth a read. And I'm not sure. Yeah, go on, read it. I think you should read it. Pick it up. Marcus Lowe. Let's give some love to Marcus and pick it up. I actually, believe it or not, I actually put this on the pile to donate to the charity shop, but I've talked myself into keeping it after this review. So there you go. And deep breath. And here we go. So the next book I read was All Systems Red. I'm really sorry. I'm terrible at remembering which or what or whom's channels I see certain books on. But I saw someone mention this and I thought it sounded hilarious. So the idea is that we've got a corporate dominated a spacefaring future. And in this future, we have robots. And this one identifies himself or herself, as the robot does say. They are not a sex bot, therefore it does not matter what gender they are. But the robot refers to itself as a murder bot. And even though it's only short, it's a novella, I believe there's quite a few of them. I'm going to call him a he. Or should I call him a she? Now let's go for a she. So, the murder bot, he. I'm sorry. I don't know what you'd call the robot because he's just so used to saying he, and that's the problem. Sorry. So, anyway, so the robot is assigned a group of scientists to protect as they go and survey a new planet. The robot is straight away just fantastic. Doesn't care. Watches TV when it should be working. It's a naughty robot. It's disabled some of its systems. You learn this pretty quickly. I'm not spoiling it. But ultimately, we follow the robot as it tries to protect the people that it's been given to protect. And I really enjoyed the science element. Obviously, I would. Martha Wells is, great. This is what she does. The futuristicness of it, how they communicate, how information is passed from one another. It was a rip-roaring ride, and I absolutely fell in love with the Murderbot. And why wouldn't I? It's the Murderbot story. That said, because of that, I didn't really like any of the other characters. I didn't really get to know them as well. It's only a short book, so I can totally understand that. And they may pop up in future ones. I don't know. But the Murderbot was everything. It loved watching these TV shows. It ignored stuff, but ultimately, when it needed to rise to the occasion, it did rise to the occasion. I did find the action scene near the end of the book was really quick, but awesome nonetheless. I love the weapons described in this book, and I would definitely pick up the rest. I appreciate that I didn't talk about this book as much as I did the other book, but it's all very, because it's a novella, it was very, the writing was good, solid, strong, straight to the point, no flowers. And I do love flowers, but sometimes you don't need flowers. And yeah, it set out to give me what I wanted. I think I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads with no explanation. That's how I roll. But yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to getting the rest of them. Yeah, it's very human, and I kind of feel like it sometimes. So let me know if you've read this and you enjoyed it as much as I did. That would be awesome. So there you go, just a short, sweet video about 2 books that I read and I liked. Or did I? I don't know. If you come here for looking for like solid answers, I don't have any. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you again soon.